All right, amazing. So everybody, welcome to the Legend Real Estate Trust webinar. It is April, Easter weekend actually here, April 2025. I do want to thank everybody for joining us on this beautiful sunny afternoon. Well, I hope it's sunny where you are because it's a gorgeous day here. A couple housekeeping items before we jump into today's webinar. We do have the chat feature open. So, we want this to be an interactive webinar this afternoon. So please go ahead and drop any questions and comments and feedback in the chat as we go through today's webinar. And just make sure at the bottom of your screen there that you select in the blue drop down that you're sending your chat to everyone, not just the host and panelists, if you do want everybody to see your question or comment. We also have the Q&A feature open as well. So if you prefer to send your question to our team directly, then please just go ahead and use the Q&A feature. And don't be shy. So we definitely want to hear from you throughout today's presentation. And I would also like to introduce everybody to, well, I'll introduce myself first. Rewind for a second. Hello, everybody. If we haven't already met, my name is Amanda Bouck. I'm one of the co-founders of Legend REIT. And I want to introduce you to Christina Marshall, who is our creative manager.
Hi there. Welcome. We're glad you're all here with us today.
Thanks, Christina. And also Samantha Oliver, our investor relations manager.
Hi, everyone. So glad you.
Oh, you cut off there for a second, Sam. One more time.
Hi there. So glad that you guys are able to join us today.
Excellent. So everybody, you've got a real treat. You've got the next hour with the Legend ladies. So without further ado, we are going to jump into today's agenda. So what are we going to talk about this afternoon? Get my cues going here. So we will start with a pinch of background, just who we are and kind of where we're coming from. And then we're going to jump into the historical performance of real estate through market ups and through market downs. We're definitely going to talk about why real estate is so resilient, even throughout all of these ups and downs. We'll talk about strategies to help you grow and protect your own investment portfolio, and discuss the key differences between a private REIT or a private investment versus investing into the public markets, and more importantly, why that matters. And of course, why investing long-term with Legend Real Estate Trust can be such a powerful way to diversify your portfolio. As I mentioned, we do have open Q&A throughout the presentation. I will take a few pauses through the slides, but again, please don't be shy. Go ahead and pop something into the chat if something comes to mind. So a couple points here on where we started. So this picture here on the screen is myself and my partner in life and business, Marty Gordon. No, nothing.
Amanda, no, it's not changing. There we go. Now, the next slide.
There's the rewind to the agenda.
Correct.
Okay, so we're up to speed.
Thank you.
I was so ahead on my tech today. Anyways, so up here on the screen, you see a couple of teenagers here. This is myself when I was 17 at the prom, and Marty, my partner in business, my partner in life, is 19 years old, was my prom date. So this is where we started 2 decades ago, a couple of young kids with big dreams. We began investing into real estate at a very young age because we actually just made the decision to do that. We knew that real estate was a way that we would be able to achieve our financial goals and our life goals, and we started building our portfolio at such a young age. And this is what we have been focused on, putting in all of our blood, sweat, and tears, and learning so many experiences about different markets, different types of properties, tenant experience, investment management experience. And we have worked with hundreds of investors. We're currently working with hundreds of investors as of today, and have been successful through the last 2 decades of investing into real estate. And today, I invite you to come on this journey with us. And trust me, I promise you, your future self will thank you if you decide to plant a couple of these seeds with us and come along with Legend. So jumping into uncertain times. So right now we cannot escape the headlines. So we do want to address a couple things right off the bat and how to navigate some of these uncertain times. Now, let me tell you, over the last 20 years of investing into real estate, there has always been something, okay? There's always something in the headlines that is creating fear and uncertainty just in the mainstream media. This is their job. This is what they do. They want to keep you a little bit afraid and a little bit tuned in so that you keep coming back. I'm talking about the 2008 housing crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic. We just went through an incredible historic rate hiking cycle, and now the US and Canada trade war. So I share this with you guys because over the last 20 years, we have navigated through these uncertain times very successfully and continue to invest in real estate. So, it's really about seizing these opportunities and just understanding that there's always something in the headlines. And the way we overcome those pieces is just getting into the investor mindset. And if I can put this into the simplest terms, this quote always resonates extremely well with me, that you should be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. And this is a quote from Warren Buffett himself. So just let that sink in just for a moment right now, because this is very powerful. And when we think about everything that's going on in the headlines and all the crazy news and everything today, it might make the general public go, I'm just going to hold and do nothing. Whereas the investor mindset is saying, great, this is an incredible opportunity. How will I continue to grow and protect my wealth through all of these different and uncertain times? So part of the way that we do that is actually looking into the real data, not letting our emotions guide us, not letting us just to come up with ideas on our own. Let's actually look at the historical data and how well real estate has been performing. Up here on the screen, I'm showing you guys a chart of Canadian real estate over the last 44 years. So this is, longer than I've been alive. It might be longer than some of you guys have been alive, or, we're in different life cycles right now. So looking back to 1980 is how far back this chart goes for real estate in Canada. So what we see here in this very obvious graph is that it is slowly just increasing over time. It continues to increase and continues to increase and increase over time. So historically, real estate has always been an asset that continues to perform. And the wealthiest Canadians understand this, and this is why they keep real estate at the core of their investing portfolios. Even as we're looking towards the future projections of 2025 and 2026, those are the red lines on the end, we are still projecting incredible growth within Canadian real estate. And let's talk about this. Why is real estate so resilient? First and foremost, the intrinsic value. So real estate is a real physical asset and it has inherent value. So this is making it way less susceptible to market crashes compared to other investments such as stocks. Another reason is the consistent demand. There's always a need for housing. And think, even in a housing crisis, that means there's a need for housing. When we're talking about residential, commercial space, storage facilities, and this is regardless of economic conditions, there is still a consistent demand. And this translates into stable rental income and a higher chance of long-term appreciation. Real estate also gives you the inflation hedge as well. So it often increases with value alongside inflation, meaning it can protect your investments against the erosion of purchasing power. So we can hedge inflation by investing into real estate. And also with diversification. So real estate can, of course, be a valuable addition to a diversified investment portfolio. And we'll touch on this a little bit later as well, offering a different risk profile than just stocks and bonds alone. And it stays resilient throughout different market conditions as well. So while no investment is entirely immune to economic downturns, real estate, particularly multifamily housing and self-storage, has shown to have resilience even during recessions. And of course, the location and the property characteristics matter. So the location of a property and its proximity to amenities affects the ability to attract tenants, and it's crucial for that long-term resilience and, of course, higher cash flow. So these are 6 very good reasons why real estate continues to be resilient. I'm going to pause here and just check in with everybody and see if we've got any questions in the chat or if anything had popped into our Q&A feature. Nope. Not yet? Okay, we got a little bit of a quiet crowd. So Sam, Christina, how about we share with everybody a couple more resources here that we do have available with Legend. So I'm going to suggest that we drop into the chat our investor deck to make sure that everybody's got a robust understanding about Legend in particular. And if you could also include with that our summary Q&A document. I think those would be some great resources that everybody can get their hands on right away. And just in case if you need to jump out early, how about you include my calendar link? So if anybody wants to schedule a one-on-one meeting with me, let's go ahead and do that as soon as possible.
Sounds good. I'll get right on that.
Awesome. Thanks, Gal. And we will keep on going. Okay, so let's continue to talk here about the market cycle. So when we're talking about the real estate investing market, nothing ever stays the same, okay? So the real estate investing market is always changing. It always has, and it always will. So up here on the screen, this is not something that I've invented. There are hundreds of different iterations, but at its core, we're looking at the 4 quadrants of the real estate investing, or the real estate market cycle. So we've got, the phase 1 is a recovery phase down at the bottom. Then we come up into an expansion phase. Then we go into hypersupply, and then we come back down into recession phase. So what we see, and again, you can overlay this graph or over top of that earlier chart that we had over the last 44 years of investing into real estate. And you will see that this trend has continued to be true and true and true all the way up. Now, sticking to the basics is what is so important, regardless of what phase we are within the real estate cycle. Something that you're not going to be able to do is actually time the market. By the time a change has already happened, it's in the past. You can't necessarily get too ahead of it. Nobody has a particular crystal ball. If you do have a crystal ball, I mean, I'm in the market to buy one. So if you want to sell one to me, please let me know. But we don't have a crystal ball. So sticking to the basics has always been my recommendation. And this is something that has historically always worked incredibly well for us in our real estate investing career. So that means if we're in a recovery phase, buy and hold. If we're in an expansion phase, buy and hold. If we're in a hypersupply phase, buy and hold. If we're in a recession, buy and hold. I think you get the point here. So just really sticking to the basics, your real estate investing should almost feel boring to you, okay? If you want excitement, go skydiving, go do something crazy, go do something exciting. You shouldn't be looking at your real estate portfolio and going, wow, that's exciting. Look at it go up, down, round and round, and all these crazy different things. So sticking to the basics has always been and will always be my advice. And of course, diversifying your investing portfolio here. So you don't ever want to have all of your eggs in one basket. I'm sure everybody has heard this before. So when we're looking at a balanced portfolio can mean different things to different people depending on where you are in your life phase. Are you new? Are you a younger person and you're just getting started out and you're growing your nest egg? Are you middle-aged and do you have different needs and desires right now? Starting out a family, maybe new career, looking to travel a little bit more. Or are you at retirement or approaching retirement? So depending on where you are within your life phase, it's up to you as an individual to decide how you will balance out your own investment portfolio. But everybody should have a few different pieces of this pie if we are looking for that adequate balance that suits your needs. First piece is obviously cash. So this means money in the bank. This one's pretty easy to understand, but it also produces little to no return. And if you keep your money in cash form, well, you're not hedging against inflation, and technically you're kind of losing a little bit of money. Another way to invest is fixed income securities. So we're talking about bonds. And if you're investing into bonds, then, I mean, you're actually lending money to the government or a company. So you're buying bonds is actually a loan. So you can also invest into equities, so stocks or shares. This means you become a part owner when you're buying stocks or shares. You become a part owner within a company. You also have an option to invest into investment funds, and these are usually by way of mutual funds. So this is a collection of investments like stocks and bonds that you can participate in. You can also invest into real estate directly. You can buy commercial real estate, residential, land, mortgages, equity. There's a variety of different real estate investing opportunities that everyday people can participate in. What we're talking about here today is private securities or a private REIT. This is the category that Legend Real Estate Trust falls into, and Legend investors own Class A trust units within an MFT, which stands for a mutual fund trust. So looking at, again, overall portfolio, and ask yourself, where is my risk tolerance and how can I balance out different components within my own investing portfolio without too many eggs all in one basket? Coming back to the private REIT versus a public REIT conversation. Right now, with the headlines and seeing the public markets swing with all of the headlines and, investor speculation and just overall uncertainty, I've spoken with a lot of investors lately, and there's a common theme. And that theme is that they are pulling out of the private markets or reducing their piece of their pie that is in the public markets, excuse me, because they're sick of the volatility and the uncertainty is making them feel uncomfortable about their own investing portfolio. So you might ask yourself, is there a better way? Is there something different to invest your funds into? And the answer is yes. You don't have to just invest into the public markets. You can invest into the private markets as well. And again, coming back to the wealthiest Canadians, this is not a secret to them. It's just less talked about through, just common knowledge. And trust me, Legend is trying to get the word out there. So on the left-hand side of the screen here, I'm talking about the public markets. So public REITs are traded on the stock market, and this is what makes them volatile, and it's subject to speculation. So this is why they're experiencing significant value swings, because it's not based on it is based on investor sentiment, and it's not based on the actual property performance. With public REITs, we're looking at higher fees due to public company requirements, marketing, fund management expenses, etc. And you've got less control over asset selection, and these decisions are really driven by short-term market pressures. Now, if we look over at the right hand of the screen of a private REIT, and again, Legend Real Estate Trust is a private REIT, it is not tied, the value is not tied to stock market fluctuations, and this provides more predictability. The value is directly tied to the performance of the real estate and not investor speculation. And there's a more direct investment into high-performing properties. We focus on long-term growth, and this prioritizes investors over those short-term stock gains. So again, Legend is a private REIT over on the right-hand side of the screen, less volatile than publicly traded investments. So I'm going to pause here. We've got a question section.
Yes.
So I'm going to turn it over to the Legend ladies. How are we doing?
Larry's actually has his hand up.
Yes.
So Larry, maybe if you can unmute yourself and you can go ahead and ask Amanda the question. That's okay, Larry, if you are unable to unmute yourself, you can always put it in the Q&A. We do have another question in the meantime.
Sure, let's hear it.
I am a level 2 mortgage agent. How do I fit into this scenario?
Ah, excellent. So level 2 mortgage agent or any person who is already invested into the real estate market is a great candidate to participate in Legend, or everyday people who are brand new, never invested into real estate before. If you're a seasoned investor, Legend has opened up an investing opportunity to Canadians all across the country if you meet eligible or accredited status. So what we're going to get into is an offer. How can you participate? And you can join Legend as a passive investor. You can own a piece of a growing portfolio from a completely passive, hands-free position without ever qualifying for a mortgage, without ever swinging a hammer or managing a tenant. So we will definitely get into the details of what that looks like.
And that's all for now.
All right, amazing. Well, let's get into it. So, what Legend has to offer here is Class A trust units within our REIT. So we're selling shares at $10 per unit is our opening price in our current rate, and the minimum investment to come into our fund is $10,000. Our targeted annual returns are 15 to 20%, which includes an 8% annual ROI preferred return. So this is your cash flow payment. We're flexible with options for the cash flow. If you wish to receive it in cash form on a quarterly basis, you can choose to do so. Or you can participate in the DRIP program, which stands for Dividend Reinvestment Program. So instead of receiving your cash flow, you can reinvest it into the fund with a 2% incentive and watch your investment begin to compound and grow even more quickly. You can invest using your RRSP, RESP, TFSA, LIRA, any Canadian registered account. You have the opportunity to self-direct and invest it into Legend. So an important detail to understand is that you're not cashing it out, and you would get to keep all of your tax shelter benefits if you choose to go the RSP route. And of course, you can use cash. Cash is always acceptable. And actually, while we're talking about that piece right now, Christina or Sam, how about you drop the RSP document into the chat right now? If anybody has RSPs that are performing at less than 15 to 20% annually, perhaps you would consider if Legend is a better, more suitable opportunity for you to self-direct your RSPs into. So it's a great program, very easy to do, and we help you through each step along the way. You don't need to do any of this on your own. Also, if you want to redrop my calendar link as well, just in case anybody needs to jump out early, please go ahead and book a one-on-one call with me. I would love the chance to discuss your individual opportunity or your individual situation to understand if Legend is a great fit or an opportunity for you. Okay, without further ado, investor suitability is an important detail as well. So we've opened this up to as many Canadians as possible. So if you meet eligible investor status or accredited status, then you can certainly participate in Legend. For our friends in Quebec, you must meet accredited investor status. If you're not sure what any of those pieces mean, again, just go ahead and book a call with me and I'll review all those details with you. Now, Legend's edge, what really sets us apart here within the market is the ability for you to invest into real estate and skip any of the mortgage hassle. So you get to own a piece of that growing portfolio, real tangible asset. You own a piece of bricks and mortar without ever needing to qualify for a mortgage, without having to source a down payment, no renovations required, no tenant dealings required, no property management. So essentially, we've removed all of the hoops that you typically need to jump through in order to invest in real estate. Let us handle all of the work, and you can enjoy passive, hands-free investing. So this is a great benefit. Again, no headaches, no heavy lifting for any of our Legend investors. It's a bit of paperwork to get your investment set up initially, and then it's smooth sailing from there. And again, a reminder here, we are RSP eligible. So this one is a home run for most everyday Canadians that you didn't really understand or weren't aware that you had this private REIT option for your RSPs. So again, any Canadian registered account can be self-directed into Legend while keeping all of your tax shelter benefits. You do not need to cash it out. And our targeted returns, again, are 15 to 20% annually, which includes an 8% cash flow option. So when we break it down, how we drive growth in value, how we translate this growth in value into our 15 to 20% annual returns targeted, the first component is the cash flow. So in the simplest terms, all of the income goes in minus the expenses. We've got the cash flow left over. You as an investor, you get to decide if you'd like to receive your cash flow in cash format on a quarterly basis, or if you want to reinvest that cash flow back into the fund with a 2% incentive. That's a flexible option that you can customize for yourself based on your needs. The second component is equity growth. So this means we're targeting that 7 to 12% annually for equity growth. As we pay down the mortgages on the properties, as we add more properties into the funds, as we boost income, all of these pieces increase the overall equity for Legend and in turn increases your share value. So Legend investors can buy into the fund right now at $10 per unit. But as we boost the equity in the fund, your share value begins to increase. And this piece is realized upon redemption. So we've created an investment opportunity that provides multiple avenues of robust returns. So this capitalizes on that immediate and flexible cash flow, plus that long-term equity growth. So in our mind, a very good balance to what investors are looking for. Having a look here into our flagship property. So this is 144 Lucan Avenue in Waterloo, Ontario. This property stands firm under contract and we are on track to be closing this spring. So spring 2025. This is a 60-unit, beautiful apartment building that has been fully renovated. It's turnkey, it's tenanted, it'll be cash flowing on closing. This is an absolutely gorgeous property that you have the opportunity to own a piece of. This property plus future acquisitions. So again, Legend investors are not investing into one property. You're actually investing into a growing portfolio of properties. And in terms of location, this property, it ticks every single box when we're talking about location, location, location. We are less than 10 minutes from 2 universities, from a college, from a hospital, a Google headquarters. We're on a train route, we're on a bus route. We've got paid parking options for tenants. We've got paid storage and even a facial recognition security system to even enter into the building. The suites are absolutely gorgeous at this property. They're completely renovated. They're beautiful. They've got the grays, the whites, which is super trendy right now, dishwashers in the units, balconies on the units as well. So this truly is a place that tenants desire to live, and it's near where they work and close to all kinds of different amenities. So this one hits all the boxes for me as an investor when selecting the best markets and the best properties to invest into. And of course, our disclaimer here. So like all investments, this investment comes with risk as well. We do have an offering memorandum available for all of our investors to review. And again, we're working with an EMD, so that's our exempt market dealer, Equivesto. If you are interested to participate in our fund, then we will show you all of the paperwork and the risks associated. So a big thank you here from the Legend Real Estate team. Let's talk here about next steps. And then of course, I'll pause again for some more questions. If you're interested to learn more about Legend, of course, you can visit our website, legendrealestatetrust.ca. You're welcome to email me directly, amanda@legendinvestments.ca. We've got a QR code here up on the screen to schedule a direct one-on-one call with me. I've opened up my calendar for next week, so I've got extra time slots available if you want to chat. But again, Sam, Christina, let's make sure that all of our links and resources are available in terms of following us on social media. We've also created an incredible real estate investing community, a Facebook group that is called the Legend Inner Circle. It's a free group. If you haven't already joined, please make sure that you join. It's an opportunity for you to interact with myself and Marty and thousands of real estate investors directly. It's just additional value that we definitely provide to our Legend community. Did I forget any of our resources, Christina? Oh, yes. We recently did a video, an interview with Alex, our EMD from Equivesto. So we'll share that video with you as well, so you understand who we work with as our EMD and why we work with an EMD. So it's a great video from just an overall education perspective.
And we'll throw in a couple extras just because we have some great videos from your 20 years, 2 decades of working in the world of real estate investing, coaching, and building a portfolio up from the ground up. So I'll throw that up there in a second.
Excellent. Yes, we would love that too. So just
We have a
checking in
couple
on
questions, which is
yes.
good.
Okay, great. Yep. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we do have a couple questions.
Yep.
One is, what is the tax payable on passive income from a REIT?
It's a great question. I'm going to caveat this with I'm not a tax accountant, and everybody's required to, of course, get their tax advice. So the cash flow, we will utilize capital cost allowance, and usually within the first year or two for a newer REIT, we can consider your cash flow payment to be return of capital until our capital cost or our CCA allowance is up, after which it's a dividend payment because you're technically subscribing into the trust as an LP partner. You would be a limited partner in owning shares within Legend. And then the second component of the increased value in your shares when you redeem them in the future, this would be taxed at a capital gain. So again, the most tax efficient way the accounting team has structured our REIT. And then the extra layer on top of that is if you're using, say, your TFSA or you're using your RSP, then you can continue to grow, well, obviously tax-free if you're using TFSA, you're not going to pay tax. And if you are using your RSP accounts, then you get to continue to grow your investment within that tax shelter.
And then the next question is, why are only 50% of units exempt from the rent increase in the building in Waterloo?
Yeah. So in Ontario, we do have rental control guidelines. So 50% of the building is brand new. It was built after 2018. So it used to be a 3-story building. So the bottom 3 stories is subject to rental increase guidelines, and the top 3 stories of the building are exempt.
And that's all the questions for now, unless other people have some that they would like to throw in the chat. We would be happy to present them to Amanda.
Yes, I love it. So that could mean that we've done a good job getting ahead of questions and presenting the information today. So that's great. I see we've got lots of resources as well. So make sure that you guys go ahead and click those links and just get access to additional information. Again, the very best way to get a hold of us is to book a call with me, okay? So go ahead and click on my Calendly link, book a one-on-one meeting with me. So Javad, if you can click on my calendar link, so we're not necessarily saying, here's a phone number and let's go back and forth with suitable times for us to connect. Go ahead and book right into my calendar. So I opened up a ton of times for next week. You can choose what works really well for your own schedule next week. So let's go ahead and drop the calendar link maybe as the next comment here, just so that it's right at Javad's hands. You're welcome. I look forward to connecting with you on a call.
One question that we're often asked that we should maybe address is, can you invest with a combination of cash and registered funds?
Yes, you definitely can. So, if you're considering doing some cash and some registered funds, definitely reach out. Let's talk about your individual situation and say what really makes the most sense here. And again, leaning on Equivesto, our EMD, to understand the inner workings, and if there's any nuance within your registered accounts, we'll definitely be able to get you answers about what's possible and what really makes the most sense for your individual situation.
And Javid actually asked a question. Do you have any idea about the average percentage increase in real estate in Canada, taking into consideration inflation during the period that was shown in your slide?
Yeah, so on the graph there, it was really showing the time period over 44 years. So it is actually sourced if you wanted to look it up there. So we've got a source here, just overall historical data. I'm sure that you can even look up a chart very similar. Just search it online. I'm sure they have graphs that are also overlaid with inflation there as well. Any other questions?
Yep, there's one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Does your prediction for the 15 to 20% include monthly cash flow as well as passive active appreciation and principal paydown?
So I'm going to pop back to one of my earlier slides.
And what is your exit strategy to add to it?
Yep. So on this slide here, oh, that didn't pop up over there. It's not moving. There we go. So driving growth and value here. So the left-hand component, so our total return, targeted returns are 15 to 20%. 8% is made up with cash flow. So that's income minus expenses is the cash flow. And the second component is driven through equity. So this is your share value increasing. So you're buying it at $10 per share. We expect to increase that share value by 7 to 12% on an annual basis. Share value and equity increase is going to happen through mortgage pay down, increasing rents at the building, adding more properties into the portfolio, and then just general rising of property values as we go into the future as well will also drive up that share value. Did I miss a component of that question? I felt like there was a secondary.
There was the exit strategy.
Oh, and the exit strategy. Yeah. So we are really focused on buying and holding real estate. So I think I hammered that piece home pretty clearly. So we are focused on buy and hold. Our business model does not require us to dispose of assets or sell properties in order for investors to profit. We're considered to be an evergreen fund. So that means we'll continue to raise funds. And as Legend grows, we will have investors flowing in and potentially flowing out of the fund when it's their time to exit. So, we think about how can we redeem investors in the future? We can redeem investors through refinancing of properties. We can do it through surplus cash flow as well, or we can redeem an investor as other investors are flowing into the fund. So it's not required that we sell or dispose of assets in order for investors to cash out.
Okay, there's a couple more questions. Where
Great.
is your company located? Is the first one.
Yeah, so company is located, home office is Guelph, Ontario. is where we are currently located. And then our flagship property is in Waterloo, Ontario. Legend is structured and set up to invest anywhere across Canada. Just investing in Ontario so far for our entire career has been incredibly lucrative. So Ontario does great in terms of employment, for vacancy, overall property values. So we'll stick with Ontario as long as it makes sense, but we do have our eyes into a couple other markets, and we will go where the investments make the most sense and fit in with our business model.
Another question is, can you pay the initial $10,000 with friends and or family?
Do you mean like pool funds together? So a couple of people to come up with the $10,000? Yes, you can do that, especially with cash. So you can't invest somebody else's RSP, but if you wanted to pool some funds and come up with your $10,000, the investment still needs to be in one person's name. So you would need to decide, does that make sense for your personal situation? I think we would have to definitely look at that. So book a call with me. Let's have a look into your individual situation and how we can make something like that work for you.
And that's about all she wrote.
Okay.
Amazing. So I've added in the chat, and I've done it on a simple copy and paste for everybody that has our book a call with Amanda, our info email, and also our RSP document and our Q&A and our investors deck. So I've made it all really simple that everybody can just copy and paste instead of going through the chat.
Amazing. That is super helpful. Thank you, Sam, for putting that together. And thank you for always taking care of our investors. We definitely appreciate every hour of every day that you're working for Legend. And thank you as well, Christina, for all of your creativity and creative flair that you bring to Legend as well. We absolutely appreciate that everything that you're doing. We've got a lean, mean team at Legend, and we get our work done, but definitely with the investors in mind. So you guys are welcome to reach out to us. You do have accessibility to us here on the team. And I do want to thank everybody for joining us on the call today. I think we had another question sneak into the chat though. So as I'm like wrapping up and saying my thank yous, I just saw another question. So let's grab that one.
Can you please explain what the process in starting a TFSA, and is it necessary to open a new TFSA with Legend?
So it's not necessary. So it is an option. If you've got an existing TFSA and you want to self-direct it into Legend, then we would help you to do that by way of Olympia Trust. So this is all outlined in our using RSPs to invest document. So make sure that you have a peek at that. If you don't have an existing TFSA or you don't wish to invest using this vehicle, then you can use cash or you can use any Canadian registered account, whether it be existing or opening a new account. So you've got a wide variety of investing vehicles that you can choose based on your individual situation. So I would highly recommend that you book a one-on-one call with me. Let's have a look at your goals, your risk tolerance, kind of what type of accounts you've already got set up, what type of budget that we're working with here as well, so that we can select the very best path forward. You're welcome. Okay, well, I think, oh, hi, Leela. Is the investment on a 5-year term? Not really. So we've built the investment with flexibility in mind. Over the last 20 years of investing, Marty and I have recognized that life situations change, goals change, and things can come up. So we've built Legend with that in mind. I mean, ideally, you stay in the fund for 5 years or longer, but if you need to leave early before the 5-year period, then you can do so. There's a small redemption fee and a couple, parameters based around that. So we do have the flexibility. Okay.
And we'll just, a quick reminder, that we will email a copy of this presentation out, which will include the slide deck to all of our attendees today. So stay tuned. It'll be in the next couple days. We just have to download it and fancy it up for you to send it out.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, well, big thank you to everybody. I really appreciate you spending a piece of your afternoon with us. Happy Easter if Easter's your thing to celebrate. Tomorrow's a Good Friday, so enjoy that in any way that makes your heart happy. So again, thank you everybody. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to speaking with you at our one-on-one call.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.